What's going on, everybody? Thanks for checking us on out. Tobin here with you, and we love you guys. Always appreciate the support. If you like the Tobin and Leroy radio show, you guys can check us out, youtube.com/TicketMiami. That is where you guys can watch our program, watch the clips on demand, and all the silly sauce is there, spewing heavily. Look, we're closing in on Miami Heat training camp. It is going to be here before you know it, and I thought before we get there, I wanted to start looking ahead to the 2022-2023 season with some player profile previews going into this year, trying to take a look at the entire roster.
Damn, you and Kyle come to work tomorrow, please.
I figured we would start with our player preview profiles, a little triple P, with the best damn player on the team. He just turned 33 years old, and he is the star of your Miami Heat, Jimmy Buckets.
Damn!
Simply put, Jimmy Butler has basically fixed the Miami Heat and has taken the torch from Dwayne Wade ever since arriving here. He has gotten the team to within 2 wins of an NBA championship and a shot away from another crack at an NBA championship in his 3 seasons with the Miami Heat. So he has lived up to his contract every which way. When everybody else in the league was thinking that he was a malcontent and was going to sink the chemistry in your locker room, he has come to the Miami Heat and uplifted them in every single way possible. But he just turned 33 years old.
And I want a really expensive gift.
He is in the midst of a monster extension for the Miami Heat, and as Pat Riley said, he wants to see this build through.
Well, I definitely feel an obligation to finish this build.
And by this build, Pat Riley means Jimmy Butler's window. How much longer can Jimmy Butler be the best player in the postseason to try and carry this Miami Heat team? And who's going to step up there with him to be that person who is going to be able to get the Miami Heat to their 4th Larry O'Brien trophy? It's an interesting question because they went into this year thinking, were they going to run it back? Were they going to go orca shopping?
I don't call them whales anymore. I'm after orcas. They're killer whales. You know, the whale is gone. They're not as good anymore. The orca is what I'm after.
The Heat really didn't have the draft capital to get into the Donovan Mitchell game, and we know that the Kevin Durant trade thing ended up being kind of a pissing contest ruse as the Brooklyn Nets were trying to save face. So Jimmy Butler is basically in run-and-out mode, which he has been here before. This is basically what they did after the 2020 finals when everybody was calling the Miami Heat bubble frauds. They came back and basically had very much the similar team with trying to give other guys some bigger responsibilities, bringing back a veteran, older Goran Dragic, and it just did not have the same bite as it did the year before, where you were getting monster performances, especially at home from Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, 3-point shooting galore, and that same chemistry wasn't quite there with nobody being able to be around each other. You saw a lot of that come back this year. The Miami Heat had a roster filled with undrafted guys and really built into that identity of they get it out of the mud. And Jimmy Butler is very much a superstar who got it out of the mud. He is not your typical high draft pick who everybody knew was going to be spectacular. He has built himself into this. He works his ass off. And from that standpoint, he is almost the perfect figurehead for this organization. But the question is it enough? Do the Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra will always say, we have enough. But the real question is, do they have enough?
This entire organization really believe in the player that I am, the player that I've become over the years. So they allow me to be me here. They allow me to just hoop and not say too much and, good, bad, and different. They rocking with me.
Looking back at his 2021-2022 season, he had some really, really great moments. Of course, he had the iconic Game 6 in Boston that will go on in Heat fan lore for a very, very long time. Everybody thought that the Miami Heat were dead in the water. They looked broken. They looked broken down. They looked demoralized. They looked depressed and looked like that Boston was going to send them home packing in a very, very embarrassing way. And Jimmy Butler carried them with a monster performance in TD Garden to extend that series.
It's fucking incredible.
He got to shut up the Philadelphia 76ers fans once and for all as a revenge series for the ages, where he got to proclaim
Tobias Harris over me
as he walked back to the locker room victorious, had Joel Embiid basically saying that James Harden isn't a good enough sidekick, and also admitted that he never wanted Jimmy Butler to leave in the first place. He also got into a little bit of trouble this year. Jimmy Butler, for those who don't remember, got fined by the NBA for a deplorable action humping the air. And, of course, the NBA catching it on camera, even though he wasn't in the game and he was in street clothes, minding his own business on the bench. We also learned that he had a very, very special relationship with Max Strus, where they would salute each other in the friendliest way possible. He nearly fought Eric Spoelstra and Udonis Haslem in one night when they were mired in a losing streak, losing to a Warriors team that wasn't playing anybody, but really was the catalyst for them going into the regular season with some tinkering in the rotation, putting Max Strus into the starting lineup, and really set them forth in a nice place for their playoff run. He made another all-star team, and of course, probably one of his favorite things is he got to ball out and hoop with his BFF Kyle Lowry.
Jimmy!
Bye, man.
So what did Jimmy Butler do this summer? Well, we didn't hear much of him reacting to that heartbreaking loss in Game 7. He did give a quote to Front Office Sports when promoting some of his big face coffee. He said, quote, "Man, honestly, I'm not ready to talk about basketball yet. I'm still in my feelings, so I don't really get into it. I can't. You're opening up the door for a lot of emotions." Clearly, Jimmy took the loss very, very hard, as many Heat fans did. One of the most heartbreaking losses in franchise history. On Instagram, he did send a cryptic post that some thought was a little note to Pat Riley. Could be something, could be nothing. The post was, "Some people wait until they're 100% ready to take the leap. They'll be waiting the rest of their lives. Don't be one of them."
What's the saying? Like, I don't know, like even a trash can gets a steak or something like that.
He got very mad at PJ Tucker for joining the Philadelphia 76ers alongside Joel Embiid. Along with his big face coffee, he started selling ice cream for a lot of money, like $12 a pint, and I believe you had to buy like a minimum of 5 pints if you wanted to even get it shipped to you. Which, if you really think about it, you spend like $7 on Haagen-Dazs. Would you rather spend $7 on Haagen-Dazs or $12 on a guy who gave you a thrilling performance in the Eastern Conference Finals? You tell me what makes you a real Heat fan.
I love to see it.
If you thought I was going to leave out the most important thing, you're wrong. He went to Colombia, of course, to go find the best coffee beans on this planet for his big face coffee. Listen, if you're a real entrepreneur, you search the heavens and you search the hills to go find yourself the best coffee beans to make big face coffee. You don't just go with some third-rate bean. We know about this. If you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's all about the beans. And Jimmy Butler knows that. Also, of course, he got really, really long hair, and everybody was a little bit freaked out about it. I personally want him to come into the season and ball out with it. He continues to look absolutely shredded. He is working his ass off and looks like he'll be in just as good condition going into this year as he is every year.
You can put him in that category of superstars. To me, he's one of the best two-way guys in the league, hands down.
What can Jimmy Butler really work on going into this season? I mean, there's not really much to say about what you could go with Jimmy Butler's game. I mean, he is the best player on the Miami Heat. Is he the perfect NBA player? Certainly not. But has he turned himself into one of the perfect postseason players? Very, very arguable. I mean, the playoff Jimmy thing is real. Heat fans have witnessed it. I think everybody witnessed what this guy turns into. He becomes an absolute monster in the postseason, and in the biggest moments, he seems to rise up to the biggest occasions. So you have to wonder about what is this regular season going to be like. The Miami Heat were the number 1 seed last year, but a very unconventional number 1 seed. They were a number 1 seed that had a lot of their stars see some significant time out. Bam Adebayo out with injury. Jimmy Butler out with multiple injuries. Kyle Lowry out with personal reasons. So with that little circle and cycle of guys in and out, this really wasn't a team that had to burn both ends to get the record that they did. But the question is, will they be even more cautious going into this year, knowing that Jimmy Butler is now 33 years old? That's the age that Dwayne Wade was when the Big Three era was over and he was going into his first year with LeBron James gone.
Jimmy's a closer.
What will they do for Jimmy Butler? It's an interesting question. You know, he is one of the best guys at getting to the free throw line in the league, but he is not one of these guys who does it via gimmick. He is not a guy that flops and flails and does, as Eric Spoelstra likes to call it, trickery to get to the free throw line. Jimmy Butler is a car crash. He is a ground and pound player. They almost reference him to a football. He would like to say it's wide receiver.
Like, I got the best hands in the league for sure on this team.
Maybe some people would reference it as he is a bulldozing running back. Whatever you want to say, Jimmy Butler is a tough guy to guard and a tough guy going to the rim. Would you like to see that tapered back in the regular season to get to the playoffs and even had that saved even more? That's an interesting question. Now, he's not the guy that will typically play 82 games. Jimmy Butler is going to miss some action during the year. He plays very hard. There are going to be nights where he probably doesn't feel 100%, probably is going to miss 16 to 17 to maybe even 20 games during the year. And will it be worth it for what you get in the postseason? It really much appears so. The one thing that you can really look at his game and say, what the hell's going on there, is Jimmy Butler took 4 3-point attempts during the postseason, and he only takes 2 during the regular season. Could he save a little bit by using the regular season to maybe taper off how he is going to the basket, how he is going to the rim, and use that to fine-tune that 3-point shot, which we have seen in every workout video that he's been doing with that beautiful hair so far this offseason?
I like physical basketball. I like bully ball.
The other beautiful thing about Jimmy, for a guy that's been known as a guy who is a bad teammate, he actually really likes to defer to his teammates during the regular season and likes to give them the shine, especially on offense. Jimmy Butler is never a guy who is going to blame a team loss on scoring. He always defers to defense. Even if a game was 42-40, he would say that it had nothing to do with the scoring. It's that they didn't get enough stops.
Jimmy's, I guess, competitiveness, his intensity remind you of anybody you've coached?
Butler? Yeah, me.
So could this be a year where he and Kyle Lowry really feed and fuel the confidence of Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero to be ready for the postseason, because they'll need even more of them once they get to that next season? His contract runs through 25-26 when he's 36 years old. So the real question here is, do the Miami Heat have enough to get Jimmy Butler to that elusive championship? Is he going to be the guy who is the next Dwayne Wade for the Miami Heat and carries them to an NBA championship? Or is he going to end up being like Alonzo Mourning, beloved for all the great moments that he gave this team, but it took maybe a bit role at the end of his Heat career when he finally got his ring?